Hey everyone, Chris here with Inside Brew Lab, and you are listening to the Coffee Shop Podcast. And today, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about building your brand prior to opening your coffee shop or coffee company or whatever you're opening, honestly. So let's go ahead and dig in and let's build your brand. Okay, first and foremost, when we think about building your brand, there are three things that we want to think about prior to building your brand, and of course the main things are going to be like, financials. How are you going to fund this, a new adventure, this vision that you're having? Are you going to do self-funded? Are you going to do bank funded? Are you going to go through an investor? There's pros and cons through really, anything that you do with regards to funding your dream coffee shop, right? And then you will also have to think about the entity type, right? What type of entity will you be? Will you be an LLC? Will you be a corporation? And again, there are pros and cons to either one that you choose, but you will need to figure out those two bases before you can really, start building everything else on top of it. So figure those two things out first before you start, really, going any further. Because if you don't know how to fund this operation, then ultimately it just becomes a dream and not a reality. So figure that out first, and then you can kind of move on to, the I would say the big three that's going to really, really help your brand. And we're going to talk about the big three right here. And the big three for me is something that you need to establish right away. And it's something that really needs to come from who you are as a person, who you are as an individual, what people want to, kind of see you as and what you truly believe in, right? And to kind of give you a little bit of backstory on myself, like myself, I was always in sales. I was always in, creating an experience for a customer, but also at the same time, I was always trying to find myself and really find out who I am and what I want to do and who I want to become. And I wanted to build that version of me to be able to really just, succeed. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I failed more times than I can count, and and it's been a journey to say the least. And if you can't fail, then you can never succeed. You can never truly grow, and you can never really see what you're actually capable of. And if you don't actively go out and try, then you will be stuck in this, in this sand of, doom, I guess you could say, and you'll never go anywhere. And that kind of sounds bad, but at the same time, hopefully it kind of wakes something up inside of you and says, hey, go get it. Do what you need to do to be able to live the dream that you want to be able to live. And that was a part of me, right? I've always been that person that is, I guess you could say, just wants to be better day in and day out and grow the person inside, okay? And one of the things that really, really played huge in my life was the constant failure. and and that in itself is really what, where it led me to where I'm at right now. So let's talk about, the building the big three. And the big three is mission, vision, and core values. And if you do not have these three, ultimately when you open this company that you're planning to open, you're doing it on a whim and you don't have a clear direction, and therefore your employees and every other staff member that's going to be under you will not have a clear direction of who you are, where do you want to go with this coffee shop, what your brand should look like, what your vision should look like, what your culture is, and all of those things. You're missing every single piece of that aspect, so that way when you do hire people, they have no idea like what's going on. At that point, they're just looking for money, which is fine, but what you're looking for is you're looking for a family to build around, I guess you could say, within your coffee shop. And that's kind of what creates the culture that you're going to, put on display when people come in and see who you are about. So the big three, again, mission, vision, and core values, these are the things that you really need to figure out first before you can go like any further into this process of, building your dream coffee company. Okay. So, and, we'll talk about mission, right? So For the mission, it should say, your objective should be like, what do you do, right? Who do you serve, and what impact are you looking to achieve in the community or the people around you that you serve? And for us, since we're a coffee company, we're also roasters. We have to think about, again, something that's small, but also something that's, can reach a larger audience, because we don't necessarily want to be tied to just, a city, which there's nothing wrong with being tied to a city if you want to be that local coffee shop. But we're looking for something just a little bit bigger. And so it really depends on, again, who you're looking to serve, and what you're looking to do for them. But for Insight Brew Lab, when I created this company, the mission, I had to really dig deep and find out, first and foremost, who I was and what I wanted to be, and who I wanted to build myself into. So my mission was to incite and inspire creativity through coffee. And when people look at that, they think of like art, right? Creativity, which, yeah, you can be creative in the things that you do, and you can be creative in, like, for us, our coffees they're different, right? Coffee is coffee at the end of the day. It's, you're going to have thousands of different varieties of coffee, but the branding around the coffee is you. It's your flavor. It's your vision of what your coffee should look like. And for Insight Brew Lab, I wanted it to be different. I wanted it to be creative. I didn't want it to be, light, dark, medium roast on the shelf, French roast. I didn't want that. I think that we have enough of that. And I just don't think that I could effectively be different and serve in a way that I wanted to serve for the vision that I had. So again, the mission for Insight Brew Lab was to incite and inspire creativity through coffee. And that could be finding creative ways to do business, finding creative ways to build your own brand, finding creative ways to get new business, or build that better version of yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean through art. It could mean through any aspect of life on how you can be creative on doing things. Because at the end of the day, we're so focused and ingrained on, like, we have to do it this way versus the other way, because that's the way it's been done the entire time, or for the longest time ever, when in reality you don't have to be like everybody else. You can be different. And that's why, when you look at our coffees, our roasts, it's a War Panda, it's Tree to Pot, it's Cold Shoulder. They're the branding in itself is different, and some people might like it and some people don't, but at the end of the day, it's creative. And again, how I did my business was, it might have been a little bit different versus everybody else, and that's okay. And that's what that creative side in me caused. And that's the idea behind the mission. Is it's not necessarily just, again, art. It's everything in life. It's how you can be creative in you know seeking the brand that you want to build for yourself and for the company that you're looking to put out there. So our mission, is simply that, to incite and inspire that creativity. And then we're going to serve coffee while build that creativity inside you. So that is our mission, and it's your job to find your mission for, what you would like to do. Who do you want to serve? Why do you do what you do, and what impact are you looking to achieve? So, and the next thing is, your vision. What do you want to do, or what do you want to achieve in the future? Like your 1 year, your 3 year, your 5 year, all of those things. Where do you want to be in 6 months? Right? You need to have a vision of where you want this company to go, to where you want it to go, so that way you can actually create effective goals, whether they're micro or macro, to be able to achieve that vision. Because if you don't have a clear understanding of where you want to go, at that point you're just you're going with the swing of things, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you truly want to succeed, you need to create those, I guess you could say, those tiers of your, walking up a mountain, right? You reach one level, you've succeeded in that vision, and then you start your trek to the next level, right? And it's just going to keep going and going and going until you reach your pinnacle. And at the end of the day, your pinnacle is really just another stepping stone towards your other vision and your other goal that you need to set forth. So having a clear understanding of what your vision is for the future, of your business is crucial. It really is. And then the next thing that I want to talk about is core values. So what do you stand for? The behaviors that you value within your company. And again, you kind of have to look into yourself and find out what do you truly value, because you don't necessarily want to, you don't want to make these up. Making these up is it, you know, it, people are going to see right through you. And the last thing that you want to do is make something up or just pick, a value that, honestly, everybody says, like, trust. You want to build trust, or you want to, um, you want to, have a fun environment. Those are like, yeah, of course you want to have a fun environment. Yeah, of course you want to build trust, but you need to have the the values that you truly believe in, that are really going to help identify where you want this coffee shop to go, because that's going to help when it comes down to your your employees, right? Having them truly understand what your mission, what your vision, what your core values are. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about our core values and what I set for our company. And they are going to be based on my life experiences and what I've learned and what I've failed on. And those are the values that I truly appreciate. And those are the values that I chose for my coffee company. So the core values that I chose, and again, these might be, something that, okay, that really hits home for me. I think I really like that value, and that's fine. You can have that. You can choose that value, because at the end of the day, there's no ownership over a specific value. So it's really on you. But I really recommend to really look deep inside of you and figure out what you truly value in life and in business. So for us, one of the things that's I kind of learned this recently from a friend, and it's called Grow, and we like to extend that into LIFO, which is LIFO, and it's learn, implement, facts, and optimize. And in anything in life, I've always, again, kind of failed and then built myself back up and learn from what I failed on to eventually succeed in anything that I failed from. So learn, implement, facts, and optimize. So you're going to have to learn everything that you want to be able to do, to do in the life that you set forth for yourself. So, and the things that you've learned, you're going to implement that into that process, right? And then you're going to take a step back. You're going to look at the facts on what happened from everything that you've learned and you've implemented in. So let's say you're making something simple, right? Let's just say we're making a latte, and you chose a specific milk, right? And you chose a specific process and a specific brewing method, and you implemented it, and then you tried it, right? And you take a step back and you think, okay, it tastes a little bitter. It's not really cutting through the milk like I want to. It's not really balanced. So you're taking the facts from the things that you've learned and you implemented, and then you're now going to optimize it to be better next time. So, okay, so now instead of it being bitter, maybe I need to change up the grind size. Maybe I need to, use more water or less water, or maybe I need to change the brew time. Those are all the things that you're going to fix, or maybe you need to use a different milk, whatever it is for your latte, right? So you're going to optimize it to be better next time, because you're learning from the facts, you're going to optimize it, and then you're going to keep this kind of flywheel effect. So LIFO, you learn first, you implement what you've learned, you take the facts from that output, and then you optimize it to be better, and then you keep doing it over and over and over and over again, and that is how you truly grow. And I value growth, and I want to be able to teach everyone that comes across me, regardless if they're my employees, or if they're friends or family members. I want to let them know, like, hey, this is how I've been handling things. I've been just trying to learn, and just take the facts from what I've learned and just try to be better next time, because at the end of the day, you're going to fail. Yeah, I promise you this. And I've told all of my employees, I promise you, you will fail. You will fail, but you will learn from those failures so that way you can be better next time. And that is how you truly grow. So our first value is grow. And then our next one is integrity, right? Integrity, build trust and honesty with communication. And yeah, some of these, may seem a little bit basic, but integrity is huge, right? Communication is huge. If I cannot communicate with my employees and my staff, then they're not going to trust me. They're not going to follow my lead, and they're not going to do, they're not going to believe in the vision, the mission, and the core values, right? And we need to make sure that at the end of the day, the integrity that I put forth, helps them build that trust in me and in the company. And then ownership. So ownership is, you really need to take ownership of everything, right? As owners, as leaders, if something happens, there is somewhere along the lines in that training process, in that onboarding process, you could have set them up for success. And it is because of that, you need to take ownership. Regardless if you think that maybe it was your fault or not, just take ownership, because that builds even more trust and even more respect. And I can tell you more times out of not that I've come across where something did not get done in the process of, inside the coffee shop, like somebody didn't make new syrups, or somebody didn't, roast coffee, or somebody didn't, dial it in, or whatever it is. But whatever happened, everybody took the blame. Everybody said, "Oh, that was my fault," and it was a team effort, and nobody felt left out. And that right there is huge. That culture that you can build with, we're all leaning on each other and we're here to help each other. That is huge. So the first thing that you can do is always take ownership as a leader, because then it shows them, it guides them on how to grow as a person. So growing, integrity, and ownership, those are the three base things. Like they're the foundation of Insight Brew Lab, and that's the reason why, it's so clear to my employees on what I expect. And at the same time, I need to, push that vision. I need to push those values, and I need to do them myself. And it's easy for me to do that because I'm the one who created them based on my life experiences. So that is why it's so important. Instead of you just choosing values that are just out there and just picking them up from a tree, you need to figure out, what your actual values are, and build off of that. And the last one is, we want to keep it fun and focused inside our coffee shop. So we want to make sure that, while you're working, you're having fun, but also you're attentive. You're paying attention to, building the drink, but you're also, more importantly, paying attention to the customer. I think that those, making good coffee is not that hard. It really isn't. And I've heard this time and time again from, a couple other podcasts and whatnot, and a couple other very notable people in the coffee game, that, as a barista, the entry into the game, right, is learning how to dial an espresso, is learning how to texture milk, is learning how to pour latte art. That is the bare minimum of being a barista. And if you don't know how to do that, then at this point, you're just pouring hot bean water in a cup and serving it to a customer, and you really don't care, right? So again, the entry into the game is those three things. It's being able to learn how to pour latte art, learning how to texture milk, and obviously learning how to dial an espresso. Those three things are the base of anything. So we need to learn that that is the absolute minimum of the experience of the customer, as building a good quality drink for them. But that is not what gives you a 10 out of 10. That's not what gives you that best, I guess you could say, review on Google, right? You need to be able to go that extra mile when they walk in. It's, hey, how's it going? As soon as they walk in, they want to feel like they're welcomed into an atmosphere. And if they feel like they're walking into a coffee shop that is like dull and dead and nobody said hi to them, that you've already lost them, right? At that point, they're just treating it as a transaction. And that's where, maybe they're going to post a review on your page and say, coffee was good, but the atmosphere wasn't really for me. That's what you don't want. Okay, you want that 10 out of 10. And I'm going to tell you right now, our coffee it's good, right? But it is not a 10 out of 10 coffee. If our coffee was a 10 out of 10, then our service and our experience for the customer would be a 1 out of 10 because we're so focused on coffee. Where instead our coffee, in my opinion, our coffee is like a 7 out of 10, right? It's good coffee. It's made with high quality ingredients, really high quality milk. It's made with whole house syrups. We don't buy our syrups, we make them. And we also roast our own coffee, and we make sure that the coffee blends really smoothly with the milk. We take our time and really understand our recipes with our coffee, but we're not perfect by any means. I think what sets us apart from everybody else is that experience of the customer when they come in. We build that relationship. We're interested in them. We want to have fun with them. We'll tell dad jokes. We'll go the extra mile to really understand them and what they're looking for, and really just make that conversation and build a relationship. That is what gives you the 10 out of 10, right? The coffee is going to be your 7 out of 10. That other three is the experience for the customer. And that's where we need to keep it fun, but yet focused, right? We need to give them a good quality product, but we also need to have fun with them. And we also need to have fun with the team. So your values are crucial. Going back to that, you need to understand what your values are, and they need to come from you. They do not, you can't Google search values and be like, all right, let me just choose the top three. They need to be your values. And then your mission is crucial because your team needs to understand why you're doing this and who do you serve. Because if they don't understand this, they don't know how to effectively be an extension of you. And if they're not an extension of you, they're not going to last very long. They're going to treat it as just another job, and they're not going to have a ton of passion about it. And that is hard to ultimately create passion for your employees, as much passion as you have. But if you can do your best to set them up for success and really help, identify the big three, right? The big three, your mission, your vision, and core values, then that's right there is going to set you up for success. But you need to identify those on top of identifying, your financials and the structure of your company. Those are the three main bases. And you don't want to skip ahead and go into, oh, what espresso machine I want to have, or what grinder should I get, or I need to build my menu. Like, those things don't matter right now. What matters is knowing and understanding your big three, your mission, vision, and values, and then also understanding, how are you going to financially do this, and what is going to be your entity type and the structure of your company, right? Figure those out first, and then we can look at all the pretty stuff like, oh, let's get the nicest espresso machine that I want, let's get some good quality grinders, and the fancy little distribution tool. Whatever you want after that. Building your menu, your recipes, all of those come second to really having a good base of your coffee shop. Again, this is Chris with Insight Brew Lab. You are listening to the Coffee Shop Podcast, and we talked about building your brand today and really setting you up for success. And I look forward to really, digging more deeper into the business of coffee shops and really helping you succeed in that. And if you have any questions or anything like that, or you want me to talk about something, feel free to reach out, comment below, or you can send me an email, or you can reach out, via our social links. We are at Insight Brew Lab. Our website is www.insightbrewlab.com. And again, if you need anything, just reach out and I'd be glad to help. Give us a subscribe, hit that notification bell. Again, thank you very much and have a great day.